What's going on, you nerds? It's Cobbsy, and on today's video, we're going to be going over some NVIDIA settings for beginners. These are just some tips and tricks I've learned over the years that can really help out your PC's performance. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, for tip one, we're actually going to have multiple things involved. We're going to call this the setup. Alright, so once you have a new NVIDIA graphics card, say you switch from AMD over to NVIDIA, or you are brand new to PC gaming, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your drivers are up to date. So NVIDIA uses something called GeForce Experience to manage their drivers. Simply go to your search bar and type in GE, and GeForce Experience should pop up. Click on that, and you can see our homepage right here. It's a really nice application. I really enjoy it. This right here is where you can actually optimize your games. So I would suggest messing around with that a little bit if you want. You just go down to here and hit details. But that can be another video if anyone wants that. All right, so back on topic, go over to drivers here. And right here, it's going to tell you if you have any updates available. I know I have one from 8 December, but it's actually causing an issue with my game. So that is why I chose to skip that one. But for new cards, 99.9% of the time, you're going to want to have the most up-to-date driver. So you can click check for updates if something's not showing, or simply click download. Run through, put it on automatic. Don't go into custom or manual. Just automatically do it, and you'll be good to go. Your screen's going to flash quite a bit, or make you do a restart, but usually pretty smooth and flawless. So you don't have GeForce Experience. What we're going to do, simply go to Google or Edge, whatever you use, and go to NVIDIA.com. You can click here to drivers. You can manually drivers if you want to. I don't suggest that if you're new to PC gaming. So we're going to go over to products. You're going to click products, and then we're going to go over to software. And from here, look for gaming and creating and GeForce Experience. And you have a download now button right there. Easy as that. Like I said, GeForce Experience is actually a really good program. I thoroughly enjoy it versus using Radeon, AMD software. I haven't used it for a few years, so don't get mad if you are coming from AMD and you like it. But me personally, I do like GeForce Experience. So once we got that, you guys can minimize out here. And we're going to go into our NVIDIA control panel. And how to do that, you simply right click on your desktop and scroll down to NVIDIA control panel. Click on there, and change resolution should pop up. You can see here I have two displays. I have my Dell and I have my Asus. You can see one is G-Sync capable. So remember that for the future. If you have an NVIDIA G-Sync capable monitor, there's a few things that I'll show you how to do later. But right now, we're going to go down here, and you want to verify your refresh rate. All right, so this is 144 for refresh rate. You can see I have multiple options here. I'm already clicked on the right one, so we'll leave that. But say yours is showing at 60 and you know you have 144 hertz or 165, 240, whatever. Make sure you are on the right refresh rate. And then you want to make sure that your resolution is correct. So right now I'm showing 1440, which is 2K native. That's what we want. Good to go there. And we will scroll down. So by default, you're going to see use default color settings. All right. If you want the sharpest images possible, opinion based, right? But I think they do look better. You're going to want to use NVIDIA color settings. Go down here, desktop color depth. I only have one option on a lot of these, but just make sure you're showing highest. Output color depth. All right, I only have one option there. Output color format, RGB. I only have one option. But here's the big one. All right, output dynamic range is showing limited when I first started with my NVIDIA card. So you want to make sure you're on full. All right, I didn't change anything, but you normally have an apply button right there. So from there, last step we're going to do, go over to manage 3D settings. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to scroll down until you see power management mode. Okay, there's two options here. It's normally going to say normal. All right, you got the little NVIDIA sign. You can click restore if you make a mistake, but right now we're going to click prefer maximum performance. This is an optional tip that I just found out recently from Dan, but it will help you in certain situations when you're gaming. Say you are, say you don't have a super strong GPU, or you're fighting for every single frame you want, which, if you're into competitive gaming, that's always important. But power management mode, switch that bad boy to prefer maximum performance, because the more power, the better. So that right there, folks, is your initial setup, and we will work to step number 2. Now that we got our setup out of the way, we're going to move on to tip number 2. And this is completely optional, but this is something I like to do. So we are back in Manage 3D Settings. And from here, starting at the top, you just scroll down until you see max frame rate. You can actually set your GPU to not go over the max frame rate of your monitor's refresh rate. It's going to cap it. It's going to help with performance issues. I like to do this in case you forget in game or the game doesn't have an option to do so. But my monitor is at 144 refresh rate, so I put my max frame rate to 144. If you have a 60 hertz refresh rate, or 240 or 165, whatever, line it up, and then you are going to go and hit apply. Simple tip, but it can help a lot. Tip number 3, and the last tip we're going to cover for this, is going to be involving G-Sync. So the first thing you should do, go back to the change resolution tab and see if your monitor is capable, G-Sync capable. You'll see it right here. Now, we talked about frames per second. We talked about a refresh rate. What exactly is G-Sync? So what it does is it aligns display refresh rates up with your GPU sending frames and gets them online, and make sure that you don't have any input lag, any stuttering, any tearing. And trust me, you will know if your frames per second get off of your refresh rate. You will see drastic performance issues. So it's very simple. Just go over to Setup G-Sync and click Enable. And then I personally click Enable for windowed and full screen mode. If you have 2 monitors, click the other display, do the same thing, hit apply, and you are good to go. Now, G-Sync is NVIDIA monitor only. If they're sponsored by NVIDIA, you will know, and only with NVIDIA graphics cards. But say you have an NVIDIA graphics card and a Asus like me, or a different monitor. Every single monitor, for the most part, can use V-Sync. So it's the same thing, it's just not owned by NVIDIA. Just go back to Manage 3D Settings in this case, and you're going to scroll down to Vertical Sync. Right now, since I have an NVIDIA one, it shows use the 3D application settings, but you can simply change that to on, and you will get V-Sync with your non-G-Sync monitor. Hit apply, and you are good to go. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I really hope you learned something. If you want to go into more detail on some of the settings, just drop us a comment. Myself or Dan can go into. It'll probably be Dan, because he knows a lot more than I. But yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking around. If you did like it, drop a like. If you're new here, please sub to the channel. We truly appreciate it. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. So with that, stay nerdy.